the video demonstration for the Research Collective, a nonprofit DAO with ambitions of becoming a swarm of expert DAOs. For the Stop COVID Hackathon, I worked on a concept called the Knowledge Foundation, which I believe solves some of the issues surrounding curated registries and applies it towards COVID-related resources such as preprint articles, antivirals, and testing kits. For the past month, I've been living in this lab space in Austin. The idea was that I'd be working in a lab, however, it got shut down because of the pandemic, and it's given me an opportunity to finally put some of these ideas into working software. For the past couple of years, I've been working with this idea of how do we merge together crypto and bio. The resultant is a hybrid entity called the Research Collective, which is a Wyoming nonprofit tied to an Aragon DAO. For this hackathon, we developed its first sub-DAO, an expert DAO for curation of COVID resources, such as preprint articles, antivirals, and antibody test kits.
This is the current iteration of the Research Collective. It's a React app deployed locally as well as at researchcollective.io. It pulls together 3box and Aragon using the graph. This is the core of it, which will hopefully be expanded with more entries soon. But the idea is that all sorts of COVID-related resources can be listed and screened and filtered from this panel. Right now, there's just two different types. One is a vendor who can legitimately supply you test kits and antivirals if you contact them through their preferred contact method. This is an Ethereum address wrapped in a 3box account, and that allows them to customize their profile later, so that way, if they change their email address, they're able to update it. The second test case was for an article that is perhaps against the narrative that smoking is dangerous, which is that amongst hospitalizations of COVID patients, smokers have been underreported. So again, I'm not making a position one way or the other. I'm just pointing out that this is a contentious issue and that normally something like this would be buried because there's interests that don't want that seeing daylight. The next section is votes. This is again pulling data from an Aragon DAO. In this case, it's the parent DAO, which is tied to a Wyoming nonprofit. The bylaws specify that the directors vote using the Aragon DAO. So these are legally binding, yet also of ethereal nature. There is a notebook, which at this point is more of a mock-up than functional. It will use 3boxes spaces so that people can stash both public and encrypted files, or notes at least, on their MetaMask account. And then as long as you maintain access to that MetaMask account, you'll be able to access your notes. The next section is the chat. This is another 3box drop-in component, and it's entirely peer-to-peer. As soon as all people have logged off, the history of the chat disappears. We hope to integrate this with our existing Telegram channel, so that way people can anonymously ask questions to a wide array of experts. Eventually, we're planning on integrating with Collab 19's codebase, so that way our expert DAOs are able to receive input using Telegram rather than having to go through Aragon votes. And then lastly, we have a profile section, which is plugged into 3box and allows people to switch between the regular 3box profile and one that's just meant for this app. Eventually, this will tie into a forum. People will be able to display different little badges and attestations. And the idea is to start being able to trust information that's been put on the internet again. I think right now, it's just depressing to think about how much of it's shilling. And it's not just the internet, it's all of science. And this project is hopefully one of many starts to reclaiming the means of knowledge production. So this is just the start of what will hopefully be a movement. Check out the pitch deck in the description on the YouTube video, and then check out the actual site and maybe join us on Telegram. Thank you for your time and consideration.